Alrighty, nearly ready. Custom streaming. Yes. Okay. So we're live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place with the weekly members night. My name's Michael Firth, one of the founding Field Advisory Board members who was around to help start the company, as well as one of the crowns. So it's my pleasure to do this event every week. In fact, we have different presenters, we have doctors, we have all sorts of people come on members night, and they're things you really, really don't want to miss. Today, the topic and what we do is we ask the diamonds for input, and the other crowns and double crowns, what topics do you think people need to hear the most? So we didn't just go, this is what you need. We actually ask what people want. And they've said some people may have worn through their warm list and they're looking at adding to the list. And okay, with that in mind, today what we're going to do is I'm going to give, and I love saying this because there was a beautiful friend of mine for about 18 years who's in a different team of Numi who said to me, Michael, everything you said has helped me grow my business. It's amazing, but I want to say this. She said, you see things from this perspective. Sometimes people come in from this perspective. So would it be great if you could invite other people on to give their perspective, because it'll give a 360-degree view. And I love that, because I'm not going to say for 1 second that I know all the answers. Anyone who says, I know everything, ego, run for the hills. Anybody who's open, green and growing constantly and learning from other people, they're the sort of people, leaders you want to follow. So I've got two beautiful people going to join me today, which is Peter Rayner, who's a double diamond. We have Florence Hamill, and Florence is a 3-star. They're going to give perspectives on the topic. And I'm also going to share Alex Monterosa's feedback. I remember too, because I asked him to tell me what his answers to these questions were too. So have you got a pen and paper ready? If you have, type in yes in the chat, and we're going to get right into this. You don't want to miss absolutely anything. So let me grab my slides. Yes, ready? Brilliant. Okay, I've got a few slides here, so I want to make sure I've got the right ones up. Get rid of that one, open up this one. Perfect. All right. So this topic, by the way, this is a perfect example. Actually, I'll do this before I share it. This topic was presented in the first 6 months of Numi's existence. This topic is in your back office. I'll bet 99% of you have not even seen it. So exactly. So people, even some big leaders going, no, I didn't know that. This is why it's important to get people on Members Night live, because they hear it. Even if they've heard it before, they'll hear it again, and repetition is the mother of skill, okay? So let's get into the topic. This topic, I'm going to add a few different things you may not have seen, but this topic is called 5 Ways to Strike Gold in Your Numi Business. And that photograph sums it up beautifully, don't you think? This is what happens in network marketing. I'm going to share 2 statistics you might want to write down. Number 1, the average person in network marketing only ever introduces 2.8 people. Scary. That's why we created the power of 3, because people, even those who don't know what they're doing, can go, well, I could get 3. But the other fact is that out of 100 warm, trusted names, people who know you, love you, trust you, on average, unless you have a repelling personality, generally, most people will get maybe 30 people showing an interest, and they might end up with maybe, 3 customers, 3 members out of those numbers statistically, right? Some people get more. I'd get heaps more because I'm trained well in the industry. Other people might get less because they're not trained, but the average comes into that figure, okay? So what's the difference with the 2 stats? Well, the guy or girl that actually quits here and introduced 2.8 people, missing the gold nuggets, didn't learn their craft. That's a fact. So it's not that the industry doesn't work. They didn't learn or invest in themselves. You're here today to be the second group of people who go on and get the good stats. And that's because you're going to keep pushing through, not just you contacting your first 20 best friends. So let's talk about the 5 ways to strike gold. Okay. Now, the first one is warm market. People who know you, love you, trust you. You pick up the telephone and off you go. I love starting with this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there is some affiliate programs out there, I'm going to be polite about these, that will say, hey, your upline is telling you to contact 100 people. You don't need to do that. And they're trying to sell you something, just so we're clear. They're going to sell you an attraction marketing program, which will take a good 6 months to get going. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying if you don't contact your warm market first, then any one of those leads from their attraction market, what do you want all of them to do? Go out and get attraction marketing programs as well? No, you want them to start with their warm contacts first. So if you don't do it, it's monkey see, monkey do. I do, I show you how to do it, all right? So warm market is where you start. Add to that, that's not where you end. Only if you're that person who's contacting, the first 20 best friends and then goes, oh, 2.8 people, I'm out. Beyond that, you meet new people, don't you, right? We meet new people all the time. And that's called true networking. Who can you meet? Can you go to an event locally, right? Um, and again, sorry, someone keeps ringing me on WhatsApp and I've told them I'm not available. So when I say that to you, true networking means getting out of your comfort zone. Now, I live in the Sunshine Coast. I live in a beautiful apartment with a beautiful view, and I could sit here looking at the ocean, never leave the house, and it'd be a lovely life. But I don't meet anyone if I do that. So knowing that it's one finger pointing at you, three pointing back at me, I said to some of my leaders, I'm going to, even though I can tell you everything I did to get myself to Crown, which was 3 years ago, that's old, smelly, moldy news. Let me talk about what I'm doing right now. So I reached out to one of my good friends that I've known here for a decade, and I said these words. I'll read it to you. And I'm going to say this is about the first one. Who can you meet? So I basically said to this friend of mine, Chris, who manages one of our properties that we rent out, I said, and you can all copy this. I said, Chris, thanks for your voice message about our property today. I was just it prompted me to reach out to you because you know what, mate, I'm looking for more exposure locally for my business. And I really haven't done any networking up here. Essentially, my business, which is international, has got about 100,000 team members, where 98,000 of them are in other countries. And I've done very little locally because I moved up here and I haven't really invested my time in networking. So you're a great networker, buddy. What events would you suggest that would be worthwhile going to? And if you're going to some, could you pass on an invite and bring me along? He goes, absolutely. And then, of course, he told me about a few events, asked me what sort of events I was looking for. And then he said he's doing drinks on a Friday afternoon and inviting lots of business people. Would I like to come? Absolutely, I want to come. That, through a person's referral, is a way of getting into instant networking events. If I sit here with this beautiful view behind me, I'm not going to grow my list. I have to get out and do something, which is who can you meet? And that is true networking. So think of the passions you might have. Maybe you love photography like I do. Go to a photography course. Maybe you love, I don't know, dogs. Go to a dog training course. Meet new people. Get out to events. True networking doesn't happen in your house. You have to make it an action to get out. Next one. Other people's networks is number 3. And I call that to people through people. Okay. And so sometimes your contacts that you have in your list may not actually join, or they may become a customer. So why not say, hey, who else do you know that you think might benefit from this? Sometimes a customer leads you to somebody else. To be honest, true network marketing isn't you sponsoring thousands of people. I heard someone who was a high rank in Numi once say, which scared me, and they haven't followed Numi 1, 2, 3. And I know they went up to a high rank and then started to slide back down again. And I said, that's because you're not duplicating. You don't have following the duplicatable systems. And that person said, I'm running out of contacts. We need more social media strategies. And I'm like, wow, that says you don't understand network marketing 101, because it's not about you introducing thousands of people. It's about you teaching others to do baby steps, to people through people. And so you might have a friend who can refer you to someone. You might have a friend who can refer you to a networking event. There's so many different ways that this could potentially roll out. So let's get back into it. So that's to people through people. And true networking is going down the line. I'll share this story with you. I was in New Zealand with Prue and Greg, and the pioneers of New Zealand, and they introduced me to a couple of people in the team who were down underneath other people. When I got down to meet these people at the bottom, which some of them are huge opportunities for us now, we realized that the person who introduced them hasn't taught them how to approach people, and that's why they were getting nowhere. So driving depth or to people through people and finding another hotspot to train, build a relationship and grow the business is a magnificent way of doing it. So that's other people's networks. Then social media. Now, some people rely only on social media, just broadcasting it to the world and assuming that, you know, the fish are going to jump in the boat. I don't believe in spamming Numi, but I do believe in using spamming. I do believe in using social media as an incubator, right? Which means I build relationships, okay? And let me tell you how this might work. And again, because I wanted to be authentic, I said to my closest team, I'm going to do something myself. And I started it 3 days ago, where I joined a wellness group. Now, I didn't join the wellness group to go, hey, these are Numi products, here's my buy now link, because that's salesy and spammy. Instead, I said, hey, let me introduce myself, guys. My name's Michael Firth. I'm one of the founding advisory board members of a company called Numi. I can see you all have a keen interest in health and wellness. We've invented something that delivers nutrients to the bloodstream in 30 seconds, into the organs in 70. We've got a medical advisory board, which is the most respected in the world. They all volunteer for free, seeing results they've never seen in nutrition before. If anyone would like to know more, feel free to reach out to me. Not here to spam your product, but just here to connect and find out more about you guys. Then what did I do? I then went to the top of the list. This group has 1,700 people. I could never run out. Keep in mind they're cold contacts, but I'll share what I did. In that, I actually sent a message to all of them. Well, let's say that Peter Rayner was the one I added a friend. I added Peter and I said, hey, Peter, my name's Michael Firth, same thing, founding advisory board member of a company called Numi. I noticed you're a member of the such and such wellness group that I've just joined, and I thought I'd reach out directly. I can see from your posts on your wall and on the group that you are a hypnotherapist, whatever he was. Tell me, are you open to hearing about new developments in the industry that you wouldn't have seen before that will keep you on the cutting edge? Now, some of them said no, but thanks anyway. Others said, tell me more. And that's when we start the Numi 123 process. So these are cold contacts. I need to build a relationship over time. So my point is, it's going to take a lot more contacts doing that than it is just warm contacts, but it shows you how it actually works. So that's social media. There's lots of hidden opportunities there. Lead generation. Now, what does lead generation look like? Could be anything. It could be a wellness expo, a sports expo, could be a website that you've got up and running, as long as you do it compliant and don't SEO it against Numi, or you get that shut down pretty fast. Podcast, you might have invited on a podcast. You could be a big guest speaker at an event. You could have AI leads. There's so many things. And I'm not going to suggest that I know all the answers. As I said, this is why we're going to have multiple people talk today. So why do we suggest you start with warm market? Like I said before, what is the first thing you want someone to do if they saw you as a guest speaker? You'd want them, if they join, to go to their warm market. So we have to be authentic. If we don't do the first 100 names, even if you chunk it down beautifully, as my beautiful friend Italo teaches and taught me and Alex, he chunks it down to cycles. Do you think he can make 10 calls today? Yeah, I could do that. It's a baby step. Yeah, well, maybe 10 calls tomorrow and 10 calls the next day. Then follow up for the rest of the week. That's a Numi cycle. It's in our training. Tiny little amount of calls, 10, 10, 10. Wow, produce results. Even if you talk about that, statistically, if you do that, that's going to work in your favor, yeah? So let's go back, and again, it's warm context that he would suggest you start with. So this is the biggest thing I want you to know. Those gold nuggets are just out of your reach if you keep on digging. But why do we start with warm contacts? This is what I call the trustometer. Invented that word years ago at one of my mortgage industry events. The trustometer says a low level of trust is a number 1, and a high level of trust is number 10. Where is, and type it in the chat, where is your best friend from 1 to 10? Would they be a 1, a 2, an 8, a 9, a 10? Type it in the chat. I'd be really interested to see what sort of feedback we get. 10, exactly. So you're more likely to get them on an event pretty easy because they love you, know you, trust you. Where is a lead from a paid advertisement, 1 to 10, with the trustometer? Where would you think that would be? 1, spot on. I could tell you some freaky stories about the interactions you get with cold markets, but the speakers know it because I told them a minute ago. I won't tell you publicly because it's a bit embarrassing, but let's just say they send interesting photographs through to, yeah, there's some weird people in the world. We'll leave it at that. So these are the 5 ways to strike gold. And we wanted to position that at the start to say, hey, do you want to be type in the chat, do you want to be a crown? If you want to be a crown, type in the word crown. If you want to be a diamond, that's your goal, type in the word diamond. Because if you want to be these high ranks, it won't happen when you just go through your first 20 best friends. You'll be that person with 2.8 people, and then it may not work for you. If you continue to learn your craft, you need to add to your, what's the word? I used it with the group people before. If you had a shop and you have stock on the shelves, you're selling milk or you're selling something, the stock on the shelves is what's going to determine how big your business is when you get the customers through the door. If you don't have a list, an active building working list where you dig the well before you need it, so you've got lists for the future, then it's like having a shop with nothing to sell. You won't continue to build a big business. So this topic is important for everyone. If you've just started, contact your warm list, but think about building a list permanently as you move forward. Now, enough from me. I'm going to, great goals in the chat, by the way. I'm going to just quickly, where is it? Here it is. Share with you the 3 things that Alex Monterosa, my mentor, the master distributor of the company, good buddy of mine for years, said his top 3 things were. And then I'm going to go to Florence and then Peter. So the first thing Alex does is he uses form. If you want to write that down, the form technique is family, occupation, recreation, motivation. And so what that means is when you're out talking to people, discover people's family, occupation, recreation, money, conversation to look for needs, wants, desires, and don't wants. So you're not there to go, I've got Numi, you should have a look. Instead, you're just being a really good detective going, hey, so Peter, how long have you been doing that job for? That's occupation. What made you get into that job? Wow, you must love it. What are the hours like? It must pay well. You'll go, oh, actually, it doesn't pay very well at all, right? So family, how many kids have you got? Oh, where do they go to school? How long have you lived around this location for? Do they go to a private school or public school, whatever? There's so many things you can talk about family. Recreation, what do they do? Oh, I love water skiing. Wow. Do you do it all summer? Oh, I wish. It's expensive. Oh, wow. See how we're finding needs, wants, and desires when we do this, and that's form. The second thing he does is he attends social networking events to meet people, build genuine friendships, and expand his network. Now, here's just my tip on this. I do what he's saying, and I started by saying I was looking for new ones here, right? I built my entire network in Melbourne when I lived in Melbourne doing exactly these things, and I'm going to start doing more here. But with that in mind, I go there without a Numi agenda, okay? Now, do I have a Numi card? Absolutely, I do. There's one right here, right? I have a little QR code on the back that goes directly to an AI agent talking to people. That's something I'll talk about later one day. We're working on it at the moment. But I go to an event not to give out my card. I go there to talk to people, follow form, as Alex said, get to know them. How long, what do you do for a living? How long's your business been going? Blah, 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 blah. To meet people, and I want to get their card. But of course, I'll go, hey, have you got a card? And then I'll give them mine. Now, my customer will say, hey, if you're curious about what we do, scan the back. Now, number 3, he leverages social media platforms to establish new contacts and nurture relationships. I love this because social media to me is not a spam fest. It is an incubator. Some of the people that I joined that wellness group the other day who then had an interaction with me who've said it's not for them right now have accepted a friend request and are still there. That incubator might work for the next 12 months. So I've had someone join me after 3 years of adding me and never interacting, and then suddenly seeing a post one day because I don't spam too much. And they said, hey, can you tell me more about that particular product or whatever? And now they're in the team. So don't be so keen that you have to, almost latch on to everybody and talk Numi till their eyeballs explode. All right, so we're going to go now to some other people to get some other perspectives. So I'm going to bring, if you can unmute now, Florence, I'm going to bring you up on camera. And this is my beautiful friend who's actually based in the USA, and she's also got a French team. She's bilingual. She speaks, I was going to say Australian. No, you don't speak Australian. You speak English. You don't say good day, mate. So that's Australian. No, just joking. So I'd love you to share with us I asked both of these guys to prepare their thoughts. Out of the top 3, what's your number 1 thing that you do to grow your list once you've gone from your warm market?
So thank you so much, Michael, for having me on this call. And so the thing that we're really focused on right now is networking, and we chose a market. And so Christoph actually was very persistent in in getting into those markets. So one in Mesa, Arizona, which is big. It's a huge market. There's so many shops, so it brings in a lot of people, but it's not specialized. It's not like a wellness event or things like that. It's really people, who are coming to shop, for whatever occasion. And then the other one is a golf, is a market on a golf course. So this is more targeted towards athletes and people who, come over for a brunch with their family, and after they've, done their golf rounds and things like that. So this has brought us a lot of leads, very good people who are looking for solutions. And so it's one-on-one contact. So they come to our booth, they're here, they see the documentation, and we can make friends right away. And as you said, Michael, is we use the forum. So yes, they're interested in what we have, but we also are interested in them. And so we make sure that when they leave, we write down, all those little answers to our questions about the things that, really matter to them, so that we can follow up after that using the forum format. Yes.
Now, let me just dive in deeper so I understand it. So, when you say a market, is that you having a stall at the market? So, it's kind of a hybrid between an expo, a small expo, and networking in general. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so the market has little stalls, and so we have our table, we have a big banner, a Numi banner in the back, we have one on top, we have our products, and we actually made a partner in the market, which who has a much bigger stall. So they're promoting other products, and then we're right in the middle, and we are blue, and they're, so we attract people to their booth, and there's more people on the booth, so then obviously it attracts more people, because if the booth is empty, nobody wants to come in. But if there are people there, so it's been a really good partnership. So they are members in our team, and then whoever signs up, then they become members in their team. So that's very cool. So it's a great partnership.
Beautiful. Now, two things, guys. Now, that's a brilliant idea. And just be aware that we're open in 74 countries.
Hmm.
Some countries you can legally do that. Other countries who are NFR, check with your upline and or corporate first,
Hmm.
because if you do that in Australia, you can get into all sorts of trouble because we're NFR, not for retail, and not allowed to have a stall with a non-registered product. It's considered
Right.
advertising, illegal. We can have as many people online buy products as we like, but that particular idea here won't work. But in New Zealand, it does. And Prue and Greg did that with a sports expo recently. I want
Hmm.
to also point out too, I just came back from New Zealand, and both Prue and Greg and I said every meeting we had was all 90, 80% of it was about building rapport, getting to know
Hmm.
someone, finding out their needs, wants, and desires. I couldn't have done that as well online. So face-to-face
Hmm.
relationship building, exactly what you're talking about here, is the way to keep going. So that's great. What's number two?
Number two is the so cold market, but using LinkedIn. So using social media, but not to post, but to look for people. And this has been very successful. So you see posts of people, and then you see information that rings that could work together with Numi, and it's on all levels. So it's wellness, but it's also faith, it's also travel, it's also all different, like the wheel that you had prepared, Michael. So these are the things that really I try to find people that resonate. I will type in in the search bar. I will say independent distributor, wellness, France, for example, or Lyon, because we had an event in Lyon, and so that will pull up a bunch of people. Now, to have access to these people, you'd have to pay LinkedIn to how to send messages. And so I haven't done that, but usually these people are professionals. They have a website, and so it's easy to connect with them, and they have their email address and phone numbers. So this has worked really well, and I will send them an email first and say, I was very impressed with your profile on LinkedIn or whatever post that you posted. And then this would be a good segue because I'm a representative for this amazing company, blah, blah, blah. And so the same way as you do, if you want to learn more, let's get in touch. So it's a very short message. And then I would say 80% of the time, because they see my profile on LinkedIn, so there is a connection. It's not just a cold approach where they don't know anything about me, but they go to my profile on LinkedIn, they see who I am, and they will answer, at least, be polite and say, I'm not interested, but this, or this sounds cool, but I'm not interested, or and just have a rapport. And then it's the follow-up. So then I have the communication, I'm connected to that person, and it may be not now, but it may be in a month or 2 months or 3 months. And so some of these people have actually joined our team after a couple of years, actually, but we've built the rapport. And so it is cold market, but it's a much warmer environment because without me, going into details of who I am, they already have my profile. So, or I have theirs. So I can find, common grounds or things that we have in common.
Beautiful, beautiful. And a tip on to add to that, if you are
Yeah.
paying for LinkedIn, which I've done in the past, sometimes I'll turn it on for a while, then turn it off when I'm not using it because
Right.
it's not cheap. But when you
Yeah.
do that, you do get access to seeing who's looking at your profile. And I did that in the early days of Numi because I knew
Okay.
a past company competitors would all be looking and I can tell who was spying on me. So it was really a good idea. Then I
Okay.
was able to reach out to someone and say,
Okay.
hey, we'll call them Fred. Hey, Fred.
Okay.
Sounds like
That's
you're
funny.
curious about what's going on in Numi because I saw you looking at my profile yesterday. Like, oh shit, how did you see that?
That's funny.
so, so that's
That
a good
is
idea. And the other thing too, we talked about nothing beats face to face. So when you're doing the interaction in a text conversation, if you can,
mm,
and Facebook allows you to do this, guys, once you've got a response, switch to an
mm,
audio message because it's more
okay.
personal. It's like, hey, I
Yep.
thought I'd send you an audio message just to personalize what we're chatting about. You can't do that. I think I'm
Okay.
not sure if you can do that on LinkedIn, but I know you can do it on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
Now, what's number
That's
three for
good.
you?
So number three is still my warm market. It never, yes, you can say you run out, but as you know, obviously I didn't have it at 30 years old, the same list of warm market that I have at 53. So you forget, and we've traveled so much that, I have my phone, but I have many contacts that I still remember, but that was, maybe 20 years ago. And when you work this business, all of a sudden, you're talking to somebody and boom, like I was talking to Genevieve the other day, and I was just thinking about this friend who had an amazing testimony with the product way back when. I was like, oh, I should contact that person again. And sure enough, I could find him and his wife on LinkedIn, and so connected with him just last week. So we never really run out of our warm market. It's just a question of, getting our memory to catch up. But also because when we, for example, the first person I talked about knew me to is a dear, dear friend of mine, and she said no, and things happened in her life. She moved to Florida and things like that, and we love each other dearly. And just before Christmas, that's when she joined the company, and she's connected on the Zoom. So, and we've known each other for 20 years, and we adore each other. But things happen in people's lives, and it was not the right moment. But keep sending your love and keep being there for people, because you just never know when the time will be right. And it's just fascinating, and we just reconnected, and we're talking almost every day now, and it's so much fun. So it's the warm market. You never can beat warm market. It's the most important thing. So yes, it's important to respect people. Don't push your warm markets. You don't want to be what they call the NFL club. Don't be the, no friends left. That's not what you want to do. You want to be respectful of your friends and just share what you do, and, with love and care, keep just asking questions. How are you doing? And then sure enough, something will happen, and they'll be open. So yeah.
Beautiful.
So I still
Beautiful.
work my warm market.
Well said, and I agree with what you said. And think about this, guys. If you're using social media the right way for Numi, you're
Hmm.
not spamming Numi every day. If you
Hmm.
are, that's where you end up with the NFL, no friends left, because people eventually go, oh, all I hear about is that bloody Numi thing. And so you're pissing off 90% of your friends for the 10% you think you're going to get. Whereas if you stay balanced, you know, engaging things, here's us enjoying the beach. Here's, my new puppy dog. Here's, a great coffee I just had, or engaging with other people. And then
Hmm.
every now and then a bit of Numi is not so bad, but if you overdo it, you're actually selling is repelling. You are pushing the people away that you're trying to attract. And that's the balance of not overdoing Numi and having that long-term view. A cold list starts cold, but how do you warm it up? Over time and be patient.
Hmm.
So that's fantastic. So thank you for sharing. I know that
You're
I
very
said
welcome.
Florence at the start as a three-star. I'm going to put my money on everything that Florence will be a diamond before we get to the summit, because you doing what you just did is the
Mhm.
sorts of things that build a big business, and you'll go way beyond diamond. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your encouragement.
All right. Now, this gentleman's not on my team, but we're one big family. Yeah. So we've got our children. I'm not being derogatory, but you've got your people underneath you, your children, if you're the parent, and then you've got your grandparents. So even though Alex is younger than me, he's my granddaddy, right? But we've also got our crossline groups, and we respect not interfering with their business if they've got a coach upline that's helping them. But we also love, support, and encourage everybody crossline. We don't have that my team, and self-interest. And this gentleman epitomizes this. I met Peter Rayner on one of the Diamond Retreats, become great friends. He's not in my team, but I'm going to bring him on now. So if you want to unmute, buddy. And I'm going to need both of us on the screen. Hang on a second. Add to Spotlight. All right. And so Peter, you're going to have to unmute when to answer this, but you've got 3 things that you do as well. And Peter is a double diamond. He's actually based in Portland, USA, but he's also from Budapest, Hungary. He's got a team in multiple parts of Europe, which is fantastic as a double diamond. So Peter, can you share with us what the number one thing is that you do? You need to unmute first. No, you've got to unmute. Down the bottom of the screen. Gotcha. Perfect.
Can you see me, Michael? Because I lost one
We can
second.
hear you and see you beautifully.
1 sec.
All right.
Yes, okay. So hi, Numi family. Hi, everybody. And thank you for having me here today, Michael. And also thank you as well for helping me step out from my comfort zone. Because you know me, I am a little bit shy about my basic English. So I hope so you will understand me and everybody will understand me today. And the first was my first point was the power of the referrals.
Referrals,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first point, what you were asking me, what was the first point?
Yep.
And
So
okay.
just expand on what you mean by
Okay.
referrals. Yep.
I think one good referral is better than 100 cold contactees. So many people stop after one conversation. They talk someone and they move on. So, but the mistake is, this is the mistake, I think, because the real value is not only the person you talk to, the real value is also the people they know. So every person knows other people, like friends, family, business partners. When someone talks with you and listen to you, trust begins. And also trust is really powerful, I think so. And trust open the doors and faster than pressure. So, and you can ask one simple questions. Who do you know, or who do you know, who many like this idea? Or is there 1 or 2 people you can connect with me? So this is not pushing, this is giving the opportunity, I think so. We are not asking for money, you are asking for connection. So 1 conversation can become 3 new conversation, I think so, and 3 conversation can become 10. So this is a smart grow, I think so. Just because I think we are creating a new wellness category. So we are not sharing product, we are a game changer company, we are changing the delivery system. Kind of like Apple did it before in 2007 when he was launching with the first iPhone, and before Apple was Nokia, BlackBerry, Motorola is a really huge company, but Apple created a new user experience and you cannibalize the old technology. So we are the same thing. So if I if I can buy better quality product, if I can share it for my family and friends and people, then of course, why not?
Beautiful. Love it. And just a question that came to mind, or 2 things that came to mind when Peter was saying that. And by the way, Peter, you clearly explained that in English beautifully. So don't think there's anything wrong with your accent.
Thank you so much.
So the thing is that when you're talking to a customer, one of the questions I often ask people is, even if they said they're just interested in the product, not interested in the business, I'm like, that's okay, no problems. Open hand gestures, I'm not pushing anything. But let me ask you a question. Assuming you get a great result in this product, like I know you're going to from what I've seen in the last 20 years in glutathione, would you have any problems in telling anyone else? They go, oh no, I'd do that. I go, that's what we do. Who do you know that has a keen interest in nutrition? Oh, my Mark Mabel. Perfect. So you've positioned it, they've already got a good response or going to get a response, and who do they know? Because let's face it, I love what Aaron did recently where he talked about step 1, get your money back. Step 2, get your product for free ongoing. Step 3, what's your first goal? $500 to $1,000. So come back to the basics. Not everyone wants to go crown straight away. They don't even believe it. But do they want to get their product for free? I'm looking right now at Prue and Greg, and they have a person who is running a charity who got some free product for them that then had a great experience. Who says, you know, not necessarily building the business next minute. Now they're talking about referring it to people through exactly what Peter said. So beautifully said. So what would be your number 2, my friend?
Number 2 is like be where people are. So if you are not visible, you cannot grow. So today people spend time online. You know, I started also. I was not really online people before. You have to know that. And they talk, they learn, they ask questions, and you are not the present people. So you are not on the present, then people do not see you. So it does not matter how good your product is. It does not matter how strong your business is. If the people do not see you, nothing happens. So, and I learned a lot from you, Michael, because you, when I met with you first time on the cruise, you know, you said you work online a lot, and I said, oh, I do this offline. Right now, I change it. So I really change it, but but you know, do not go online to sell. Go online to connect, create
Yes.
content, write comments, share your experience. You know, ask simple questions, be helpful, and when the people see you often, they start to trust you, and they send you a message like, "Can we talk?" Or, you know, "I am interested," or something like that. That is natural growth, I think so. Slow but strong.
Yeah, love it, love it. And social media used that way is an incubator, a relationship builder, and it's absolutely brilliant. And I want to say too, if you're online now, right now going, oh, Michael used social media to get himself the crown, I need to be on social media. You don't. It's one strategy, right? There are some people who are really almost hardly existing on social media that are high ranking in Noomi today because they do it the other way. So I'm not saying one solution is all of them, but if you want to expand your list, it's worthwhile thinking about it. I have a beautiful friend of mine who's online looking at me right now who once said that and keep in mind, Australia, New Zealand are we're down under in the middle of nowhere next to no other countries, right? And this person said social media is a slow boat to China. And I'm like, it is. But if you start now, or if you started 10 years ago when I said it, maybe you'd be nearly at China by now. So when's the best time to start? Yesterday. So start now, right? So that's great. So Peter, what would be your 3rd most important way to expand your list?
Sorry, say again, please. What was
number 3? What's number 3 on your list?
What's number 3?
Yeah.
So the number 3 is create strategy partnership, I think so. So big growth does not happen alone. It happens when the networks connect. Think about business owners, you know, beauty salon owners, hair salon owners, nails, tattoo studio, fitness, small clubs or wellness places. Of course, P2P is working only in America, but my biggest business, I mean, the most of my business partners lives in Europe, so we don't have this system there. But here is the things. In every small company, like a nail studio or tattoo studio, can put on the table like a glass boxes. This is what I do. Put 2 empty bottle into the glass box, QR code right on the glass box, and some flyers near.
Love it.
They don't sell it. They promote though. And this is how the entrepreneurs makes extra money, you know, through the Noomi business model, you know.
Yep.
We don't need to get the peer-to-peer there.
Love it. So just this is the only time your accent did throw someone off, including me. I know what peer-to-peer, what he means is the professional reseller program, the PRP. So thank you. And that's in the US, that's in Canada. It's not in any other country yet. But you know what? You just said something that blew my mind, and I want my whole Australia New Zealand group to hear this, because we can't advertise in Australia because it's an NFR market with certain laws. However, you can do what Peter just said. You can have a couple of products at your hairdresser's salon with a QR code and a brochure, because it can only be purchased online. Now, is it a fine line of technicalities around that legally? Yes, because, you know, is it advertising? Well, it's not advertising. It's just internal promotion at a hairdresser or a beauty therapist or whatever. So you can get away with that. If you went out and did an expo or advertised something online in Australia, which I have to be careful of, then you're crossing that line of law. So thank you, Peter. You just spawned an idea for the entire Southern Hemisphere, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the good things is they don't need to push, you know, they don't need to sell hard.
Yep.
They just put on the table, on the front table where the salon, when the clients are paying, and it's easy to see because everybody likes to look the catalogs.
Love it. Love it. That is absolutely brilliant. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is something we don't normally do. For everybody who's watching us online, I love the fact that we want to give you a reason to be here live instead. We're going to switch off the live streaming now. But what we're going to do is we're going to continue the conversation with open Q&A here privately in the room. So if you're watching this and you're going, I just watched the onlines, you're missing the best part now. So good